Hello and welcome back to Realm of Thrones, and we're here at Dowry because of course we are. Oh yes, we need to continue our attacks against Dragonstone if we are going to be able to expand our territory, because obviously the Iron Islands, they are going to be extremely passive, and kind of sad actually to see that because, well, they're not actually doing anything of note. And that's making things a little bit awkward, I have to admit, but oh well, never mind. As you can see, there's a Dragonstone army coming along here. Stannis himself, he has 133 Dragonstone House Guards available for battle here. So let's actually take a look at the Dragonstone House Guards to make sure that we're not fighting anything too dramatic. And yes, indeed, they are just the regular peasant upgrades. So that shouldn't be a particularly difficult battle, maybe, because he also has 59 elite archers, which are of course going to make things quite uncomfortable for us, as well as 32 Thunder Knights and 33 Queen's Men. Yeah, those guys are meaning quite a bit of business. So anyway, we are going to be going in here. This is going to be a pretty perfect fief for us if we can maintain the ownership over it. If we get it, we're going to be able to defend against the overwhelming army that Stannis has. I mean, it's not overwhelming at the moment, but you can best bet that it will be when and if he decides to besiege. So that is definitely going to be something that we need to watch out for. And if he does decide to besiege, we are going to hopefully be able to institute a couple of ambushes and indeed maybe even sally out. It very much depends on what we want to do. Anyway, let's see if we can do this. Let's try our very best here. Not entirely sure what kind of people we have right now. It seems like the enemy has built 3 catapults and 1 ballista. The ballista is obviously going to be quite damaging, but the catapults are far and away going to be the thing that will be doing the most damage. So I'm very worried about that, and I'm actually not entirely sure if I'm even going to be able to get up here. So let me actually just try my best. It's going to be very difficult. There's only 300 in here, however, so maybe it's not actually that bad. I need to step on here a little bit just to make sure that the ladder does not get... Oh no, are you serious? Okay, yeah, this is going to be a problem, isn't it? Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a problem. I kind of wanted to step onto the ladder so it would prevent enemies from pushing the ladder away, but the problem with that is that it makes me a target. It makes me a huge target because I'm the one that's going to go up there first, and in general, I'd like to prevent myself from getting killed too easily. That's kind of the deal here. Anyway, let me see if I can just do a bit of damage to some of their militia archers. That's going to be one of the main reasons why we end up taking a lot of casualties. It may not be, you know, that you think that the militia are any good, but they actually are not bad. You know, they're actually okay. You know, they are supposed to be, you know, deadly in numbers. That's usually how it goes for them. If they have a lot of numbers and they're all shooting at you at the same time, it's probably going to do some pretty decent damage. If I can get up here, however, then I might actually be able to do something. Here we go. Got to do some damage here. Oh, I really wish I had more polearm skill. Yeah, really wish I had more polearm skill now. I guess the best thing I can do is just continue using it here, you know. Just continue using it. Try to level up as best I can. And if I can do that, then we should have a pretty easy victory here. If I can actually clear out this area. As you can see, these guys are really making things very difficult for me right now. I'm gonna have to run away here, gonna have to get upstairs, and maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to survive. This is gonna be a hard one. This is gonna be a hard one. Yeah, no, maybe we can do it. Now there we go. Okay, we did it. Okay, so now all I need to do is I need to pick up... I don't know, actually. Yeah, let me not pick up anything. Let me actually just shoot a couple of people. Might as well do that. There's going to be a person coming up here, 100% almost. They will come up here, because they do want to take the ballista back, of course. And that is a thing that we need to worry about. But maybe... hello there. Yeah, we need to eliminate him. Thank you very much. And then maybe we can... Oh, no, it seems like we are actually getting a small foothold on the battlements. My HP is not looking particularly good, but I guess all we can hope for is that I'm going to survive at least a little bit longer. Probably not going to be able to survive a huge amount. I really need to kill these guys. They are going to prove themselves to be annoying. Maybe if I can just do this. There we go. And another one of these. There we go. Alright, nice. That is actually working out quite well, surprisingly enough. And it seems like my forces are doing relatively nicely. I'm not entirely sure if the battering ram has been destroyed. Don't really want to look at that just now. But I do want to eliminate these people that are attempting to use the catapult. The catapult, as I've said, is far and away one of the best weapons that the AI can use, because they're generally pretty good at using it. And we're obviously just going to be harassed continually by some of these enemies. So I'm going to have to be a bit careful of those. Oh, nice. Dragonstone Halberdier. It's one of the higher tier units, so it's nice to see that we eliminated one of them. Well, it seems as though we have actually cleared out most of the enemy, and we don't actually need to worry now. I just need to shoot a couple of people here, and then we'll be done, I'm pretty sure. I am going to need to refill my arrows here. We have 52, actually, thanks to some perks. Usually, I think we have about 35, so that's pretty cool. Very much appreciate that. I think that's due to our engineering skill, isn't it? That we have 50% more ammunition or something like that? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's really helping us out a great deal here. I mean, if you obviously can't get access to one of the arrow barrels, then it's going to be an extremely lucrative thing for you to take in perks. And that is indeed it. There we go. That is the end. Hopefully we will be able to maintain our casualties, because here's the thing. If you take a look, yeah, we've actually lost 50, which is a little bit on the poor side there, because here's the thing. If we hadn't lost that many, I would say that we'd have a pretty good shot at achieving something amazing here. We might be able to defend against Stannis, but the way it is at the moment, he currently has about the same amount of units that we do. And I'm not entirely sure if we have enough to be able to defend adequately enough. I mean, you can see here that we've got some pretty good numbers in terms of our cavalry, but I lost a huge amount of them in this particular siege. As I said, if we hadn't lost so many, I think we might have a really, really good shot of actually achieving victory here. But as it stands, I'm a little bit worried now. Anyway, let me see here. Okay, so we got another one of these. We'll just get that, and then we'll just drop off a couple of those just in case. All right, so I do have a couple of extras here because obviously I need to rescue as many people as I can. We're gonna show mercy here because, well, actually it doesn't even matter because they can't rebel apparently. Should I claim this fief? I'm actually not entirely sure if I should claim it or not. I think I will claim it actually, just because then I have the ability to determine what it gets and what it does and everything. So yeah, I'm actually gonna do that, and we're just gonna raise its loyalty so that we can make sure that we have decent construction, because obviously if you have low loyalty, then your construction is going to be lowered, and I'd like to try to build this up if we manage to achieve a victory against Stannis himself. So I actually did get to 200 in polearm skill as well, which is quite nice. So let's see, what else can I go for here? Well, plus 5 hit points to troops in our party is probably going to be what I'll take. That's definitely going to make things much, much easier for our infantry and various other characters to survive, because if they only have 100 HP as a default, then them getting 105 is going to mean that they might actually survive more than one shot to the head, that is. Anyway, once the autosave is done, we're going to see what he decides to do. He's going to go in for the siege. Yep, of course he is going to go for the siege. Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. And he's going to be... Oh. Yeah. Well, this is bad. Do you think I can win this? It may very well be that we might be able to. It just very much depends on how much HP I have, maybe how many kills I get, and whether my own forces are able to restore themselves. I mean, we're getting a huge amount of different things built here. I very much hope... Are we really only... Oh no, are you serious? Okay, apparently my people only wanted to build catapults, which I am not a big fan of, and we are actually fighting at night, so in editing I will probably have to make the video a little bit brighter so that you can see, because as it stands, you know, nighttime is quite dark. Oh, actually, maybe not. Maybe I won't have to do that. I don't actually know. Anyway, we should probably just put some people on here. Let's just put some people on here just to make sure that they're all getting bonuses in some way or another. I'm not entirely sure if that really makes any difference, to be honest, but might as well try it out and see. Anyway, I have still taken some damage. Really not a big fan of that, to be honest. Would have been nice if we'd been able to restore ourselves to full HP, but you know how it goes. Alright, let me see if I can get on top of one of the archery nests here. They have built a battering ram. I'm pretty sure that my catapult people will be able to get quite a large amount of kills, or at least I can only hope that to be the case. As you can see, we have some people actually doing that right now. Let's see how you're doing, sir. Are you going to hit? Are you... Oh, someone hit. Did you see that? That was crazy. Alright, yeah, we're getting some pretty nice kills there. Oh, nice. That was a good hit as well. Northern Mounted Warlord, very good. And we also have Regna Drum here. So she's doing a great job. And let's actually just see. Yeah, we seem to actually be destroying it. Yeah, we seem to actually be destroying the battering ram. If we can do that, then I think we will have a, well, maybe almost a certain victory here. It just very much depends. Yeah, not too bad. We're actually eliminating their vassals as well. They might actually decide to even retreat before they've even reached the walls. Very much depends on their morale situation. Ooh, yeah, we might... I don't know, we might be able to. I know, they're still moving it. They're still moving it, so I should probably try to do a little bit of damage. Really? 260 to a headshot? Okay, that's kind of weird. Hit a headshot and did 260 damage. This person, whoever I hit, must be extremely highly armored. Okay, I would very much appreciate it if my forces could actually hit the battering ram. There we go. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so they hit the battering ram. We are now absolutely fine. I don't think... I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty confident right now that maybe we're going to be okay. Maybe we will be able to do something here. I feel like I'm extremely underpowered with my bow, even though I should be doing massive damage. I mean, I'm doing 94 when I hit a headshot, but when I hit anything else, I'm doing very little damage. So, yeah, that's not feeling particularly good right now. Let me see if I can just shoot a couple more of these Thunder Knights. They are going to absolutely cut a path right through our forces if we allow them to. They are two-handed weapon users, and they are very, very dangerous. So I would appreciate some headshots, please, Elias. That's going to be extremely nice for you to do that. There we go. Gotta say, some of these Dragonstone House Guards and various Stormlands units have amazing helmets, because I'm headshotting some of them here, and they are surviving a 119 damage hit. So yeah, it's got to be that they just have really, really good HP perks that are definitely increasing their overall survivability, and that's a huge deal. That really is a huge deal. Anyway, I have currently, yep, As you can quite clearly tell, we have eliminated 281 of our own. So in other words, my own people have eliminated 281 of the enemy, and my forces in general have eliminated 569 and counting, which is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, as you can see, the catapult is no longer working here because we ran out of ammunition. Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason why it would be. And so, yeah, that's a little bit of a shame now, because now I am stuck doing a little bit of archery here, and I'm kind of the only person that is really doing anything, because I don't see anyone actually killing anything. Is it just me? Maybe there are a couple of people, but they're not really contributing a huge amount. So, you know, it's mostly just me shooting here randomly. And, yeah, the wonderful aiming thing that I actually talked about in a previous series is also grinding my gears kind of a lot. But, you know, can't do much about that, as someone actually did explain it, and apparently it is realistic. Apparently it is realistic for me to have some issues aiming downwards. Like here, for example, if you take a look at me aiming downwards here, and you see the arrow from a first-person perspective travels absolutely fine, but then if you look at it from a third-person perspective, you need to aim downwards. You need to aim downwards so that the you know, the actual arrow goes above the crosshair. It's kind of weird. I'm not going to explain it now, but yeah, it is kind of irritating to deal with. So, you know, most of the time I would be getting, you know, almost headshot after headshot right now, because it is just so simple to headshot them. But the problem with it is that I can't really do that when the arrow is going into an area or into a direction that I'm not expecting. And so it is much more difficult to actually get accurate shots on enemies. But I can just be thankful that the developers of Bannerlord actually decided to add in ammunition barrels to sieges, because I can imagine that this would be much, much worse if this were in Warband, because obviously if this was Warband, you know, you'd have to be playing a mod, really, to be able to do a siege this long. I mean, that's the funny thing. I have actually done sieges this long before. I remember very vividly doing the Britain Water playthrough. It has 142 or 130, or I don't even know, episodes. Got a huge amount of different episodes there. But basically, the gist of it is, I was in a siege against, I don't even know how many units. I think it was like 1,200 units or something like that. I don't know. It was something crazy. Really, really big number. And I was trying to defend it with a small force. And because Warband is quite, well, let's just say it does not allow as many forces on the field at once. So it's going to take a lot longer for you to actually complete these. And also because the enemy forces do tend to spawn quite far away from the walls of the castle or of the fief or whatever. So they do tend to spawn, you know, a fair distance. And that obviously adds to the overall time that you're going to have to wait, because even if you're super fast in, you know, killing enemies, it doesn't matter, because, you know, then they're just going to respawn super far away, and it's going to take them an age to get to where you are. And that happened to me in Britain Water, as I say, and I think in real time the siege actually took me about an hour. Maybe even more than that, maybe less, I'm not entirely sure now. It was many years ago, of course. But to think about it now, and to think, yeah, I literally spent an hour in-game slashing at enemies as they entered the fief, and trying not to die. And I was extremely low in HP at that point, and I was dying from bleeding, because there was a bleed, you know, in Britain Water there's a bleed effect, and you have a chance to bleed every single time you take damage. And I was taking 1 damage every couple of seconds. And this was at the very end of the siege, of course, and, well, somewhere near the end, I suppose. And I ended up getting killed, but thankfully, I think we did end up winning that siege. And at the end, we had eliminated, I think it was like 1,300, 1,200. I don't know. I'm sure someone remembers. Maybe someone remembers that. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I can just very vividly remember that took an age to complete. And we've kind of got a bit of a similar situation here. And I say, you know, oh yeah, it's going to be super, super easy or much, much faster in Bannerlord. And I'm kind of like, well, actually not. It's taken me, oh, it's only 13 minutes? Really? It doesn't feel like 13 minutes. That's all I can say. It really does not feel like 13. It feels like 30, to be honest. But, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Anyway, look at that. I hit that guy for 131 damage and did not die. Look at that. He did not die from that. That's an insane individual. Must have a lot of stamina right there. But yeah, anyway, as you can see, we've now eliminated 900. Yes, 900 and counting. And I'm just gonna continue shooting them, I suppose. I mean, I do want to get to 275 in bows, and this is probably the best way that we can do that. But to be honest, I am not a big fan of really, really big sieges like this. I actually really like siege defenses, don't get me wrong. I actually really love siege defenses because they just provide you with so many opportunities for fun things to happen. Like as you can see, I can level up my bow skill really nicely. You know, I can drop rocks on people if I want to. You know, that kind of stuff. But the main issue is the big sieges like this, where it just goes on, and it's quite harsh. It's quite harsh on the time. Alright, well, you know how I said it was going to take a long time? Well, yeah, the enemy has actually gotten through our lines, and they are now making it, well, kind of bad for us right here, as you can see. I'm going to need to actually run away. Oh no, this is bad. I don't have strong legs, do I? Do I have strong legs? I don't think I do. Okay, well, I'm going to have to run away from them right now. This is pretty much the only way I can think of to survive this, which is really funny, actually, because I don't think they've eliminated every single one of us. No, they haven't. As you can see, there's a bunch of people in the courtyard here, which is obviously going to make a significant difference. Because you can see we have 140 on the field at the moment. They have 200. But you can see that the enemy actually did manage to penetrate our defenses extremely effectively, surprisingly effectively, really. And yeah, they are now making things a bit uncomfortable, but thankfully we have managed to eliminate them. I'm not sure how that happens, actually. The allied AI tends to be a bit weird in that regard. I don't know whether you've seen that in the past, because I have. And but I've been on the attacker's side, and it's actually really strange, because what happens is eventually, after a certain period of time, the allied AI tends to, or shall we say the defending AI, tends to literally just go and run away from the front lines, and they just tend to give up positions in the castle for no reason whatsoever. And it's very strange. I'm not entirely sure why they do that, because let's face it, you don't really want your defenders to completely abandon their posts, but that is generally what tends to happen some of the time. And yeah, it's kind of harsh, because if you can imagine, you know, you're defending actually relatively well, and then all of a sudden your defenders are just like, no, I'm gone, and then they just leave, and it's bit of a weird one. Anyway, there's one enemy over there. I think we're at, yeah, I don't know whether we're going to be okay. I mean, we have over 2,000 units or something like that to deal with here, and I just wanted to show you the defense that they penetrated, you know, just because that was quite fun. But yeah, we're just going to go back to shooting a bunch of people now, I suppose, and hopefully we'll be able to, you know, fight them off. Ah, it seems as though the enemy might have actually decided to retreat finally. As you can see, they're now running off into the horizon there, and I've just actually reached 275 in bows. Pretty amazing. There you go. There's the victory for us. How many did I eliminate myself? 112 enemies. There you go. And I actually managed to level up my bow skill 16 times. Yeah, I feel like that is, yeah, not so good. But anyway, look at that. 96 renown we gained, 115 influence, 80 morale, and 55% of the loot. Not too bad. Anyway, there you go. That was a wonderful victory for us. Extremely easy, kind of, was it? Not so much, not so much. It very much depended very heavily on how effective my forces were when using the catapults, because the catapults were just doing so much damage. They were really helping us a great deal. And the enemy, as you can see, is not done. They are not done. They will be coming back in here in just a moment. Let's actually just take a quick look and see what he has available. He has a bunch of noble units as well. He's got 50 Dragonstone Knights, for example. He's got a whole bunch of those. He's got House Guards, he's got Thunder Knights, he's got a massive amount there. So what we could do is we could sally out, but that's probably not the best idea. Ambushing would probably be the next best thing. They're going to try to build some siege tower. Oh, they're getting reinforcements. Of course they're getting reinforcements. Okay, so we can ambush them now. But do we want to do that? That's the question. I mean, we could just parlay if we wanted to as well. I mean, obviously, that's a thing. I'm not entirely sure whether we want to really do that. So it seems like maybe an ambush is going to be the best possible course of action. Unfortunately for us, we don't have a huge amount of HP. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to be extremely careful here. Don't really want to be super aggressive. We just want to try to eliminate the enemy siege tower, even though, to be fair, I actually don't know whether this is even... Is this even worth it? That's the question. Is it even worth it? I don't think so somehow. I feel like, to me, we probably just want to... Well, probably just want to get out of here, to be honest. I don't think we should even worry about it. Maybe we could eliminate a couple of extra enemies, but that's pretty much it. Huge amounts of them are actually only getting knocked unconscious as well, which I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of that mechanic. It would be much better for them to just be killed, of course, but, you know, the mechanic of medics and so on and so forth, actually increasing the chances for knocked unconscious and wounded troops, of course, is absolutely fantastic from an RPG aspect. But from a realistic perspective, you know, I just hit a bunch of people with an amazingly sharp weapon on the head, and it's highly unlikely that they're going to survive that, but you never know. Anyway, we're going to retreat now, as we have done some damage to the trebuchet, even though I'm not entirely sure what that's really going to do. And as you can see, we now get an opportunity to go in against 1400, which obviously is going to make a slight bit of difference, hopefully, at least. So let's go for plus 20 morale, and I should probably level up my tactics skill a little bit here as well. And let's just go straight on in. Now, of course, this is once again one of those times where we just have to cross our fingers and hope that we're actually going to be able to succeed here. Let's put Theon in there. Someone else needs to go here. Really? Really? What actually happens if you put them in the commander thing? Does that actually do anything? I don't even know. I'm just going to put them in the commander thing just because I'm interested to see what actually happens with that. Because last time, obviously, we had a significant amount of people, you know, in here, and we eliminated huge amounts, and we weren't having too many issues. But I'm a bit worried now that I am so low in HP that I'm going to get shot and immediately killed. So that's an issue, of course. That is a really big issue. So I guess we can only hope that what is going to happen is that they will be able to utilize their catapults here. Unfortunately, this is not a fire catapult. Kind of hoping that they would use a fire catapult, but yeah, I guess it's going to be fine. I mean, I'm not entirely sure whether you can even build those in the defense, you know, because you can build them in the offense, of course, but not in the defense. I have no idea. It's kind of weird, actually, that as the person defending, you don't actually have the ability to decide what kind of siege engines you build, at least as far as I'm aware. I don't think you can, because I've never been able to select them, so I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe there is a menu somewhere that allows you to do that. And we've got some people coming in, and look at that, yeah, we're actually finally starting to get some kills now, because I was a bit worried there for a second. I thought to myself, okay, can you guys actually start getting some kills with the catapults, because that's going to be the main difference here. Us having catapults and the enemy not so much. Now bear in mind, I do actually have 275 in bows now, and you can see here that the damage hasn't really changed all that much. We are doing more, but it is still somewhat lacking in my opinion. I'm doing 50 damage instead of 35 and 36, so yeah, kind of a bit sad, because beforehand I was still getting kills, one-shot kills, with headshots. So it doesn't really help me that much, actually, to have 275 in bows, which is actually quite funny. I mean, I guess it helps me in terms of accuracy. That is the only thing that is really going to be dramatically improved, I suppose. And I guess the damage is alright, you know. A little bit of extra damage never hurt anyone, apart from our opponents, of course. But as it stands right now, the ability to, I suppose, do 2-shot kills instead of 3-shot kills is quite good. But that's pretty much it. That's all I can really take away from that. Because if you do 50 damage, and kill a person that has 100 HP, then obviously that's great. But if you do 35, 35, and then 35, obviously that's going to be, you know, it's 3 shots. So it does save you a little bit of time, but against these higher tier opponents, it's not really going to make that much difference, because you're going to be able to shoot them 3 times and they're still going to die from the same amount of shots. So it doesn't really help you that much. And lower tier forces are probably going to have lower armor values anyway, lower HP anyway, so you know, who knows whether you're going to be hitting them for 35 anyway. You might not even hit them for 35. You might just hit them for 50 normally, and in which case it's the same. So that's it's a bit sad, actually. It's a bit sad that the perk is not as effective as you might want it to be. But as I say, with accuracy, it's definitely making, I think it's making a big difference. Or at least I can only hope it is. And we're just going to continue shooting. There's not much more for me to do here, you know. We kind of just have to shoot. I mean, technically, I know I'm going to assume that some people have already asked me why I didn't go on the catapults. Because obviously, if you go on the catapults, you're probably going to be able to get a pretty significant amount of engineering skill. I know that if you go on ballistas, you do get. I think if you go on the ballistas, you do get engineering skill. But anyway, the point is, the reason why I don't go on the catapults is because I am just terrible at using them, and in a situation like this where it is quite a high pressure situation where we could possibly lose, and that would then end up in us getting taken prisoner and the Iron Islands falling even further behind everyone else. And so it's kind of imperative that we live and that we survive and achieve victory. So the you know, me going on the catapult situation, you know, me going on that is not going to be very useful. That's the only reason, because I actually think that it would be super fun for me to go on the catapults. I actually really enjoy going on siege engines, but when I fire them and I miss, it's probably one of the worst feelings you can have in this game. You know, with the exception of spear-only tournaments and stuff like that, because you're just going to go poke with the enemy for 5 damage in those situations. But, you know, anyway, the point is, when you fire off these massive rocks towards your opponent, and you think, oh, can that please hit? And then it doesn't. It's really sad and very disappointing. But when you actually hit with them, it's on a completely, you know, opposite end of the spectrum, where you are literally thinking to yourself, wow, that was amazing, such an incredible feeling. And that's the reason why I generally tend to prefer going on the ballistas. Because if I go on the ballistas, I have a much higher chance of being able to actually hit stuff, because let's face it, ballistas are basically just like big crossbows, and it's much easier to use. But a catapult requires, I don't even know what. In my opinion, you need to be some kind of astrophysicist to be able to understand how to work with these, you know, with the trajectories and stuff like that of the catapults. And yeah, I know, there are some people out there that are extremely good at using the catapults, And I'm going to assume it's just practice and so on and so forth, because let's face it, everything is going to get better with practice. But as I said, I don't really want to practice in this kind of siege defense where, you know, it's very important that we win, because then I'm just going to waste ammunition for nothing, and that's going to be very sad in itself. Well, it looks as though the enemy is now deciding to retreat once again, which is absolutely fantastic, and hopefully this means that maybe what we'll be able to do is actually go after them. I was kind of hoping to do that beforehand. Oh, maybe not. No, we still won't be able to go after them. We've only eliminated 447 of them, which is actually really, really bad. I was kind of hoping that they'd stick around maybe for another 200, maybe for another 400 kills or something like that, because if we actually had that happen, then we probably could have gone after them and attempted to attack them on the field. And if we attacked them on the field before the other army actually came closer, then we would probably have a pretty good shot. Unfortunately, as you can see right now, they've now decided to team up, and the best thing I can do is try to defend our catapults. So that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.